Yes. Yes. Oh, man. I have got a fantastic show lined up today. I apologize because I didn't get a chance to do as much show prep as I would have liked to do, because I was going to do a special today. I was there. Camera. Okay. I was going to break down the NFC picture, and I was going to put it all on my notepad. That way you guys can take a look, kind of see what I'm seeing as far as the NFC playoff picture is concerned, because this week's a really, really big week for the NFC playoffs. Really big week. All right. Looks like everything's working. Ballin' for Bevel. Let's go. James, welcome. Congratulations, by the way. It's a great game. I lucked out because I took the Lions in 3 points. Then I went ahead and did an in-game bet with the Lions at 9.5. So I basically did a lot of double dipping here. So the Lions came through for me big time. Hey, wanted to tell you, plugged your show on another sports channel called Dirty Rob T. Oh, dude, thanks, man. Dude, you know what? If I'm right, I've been subscribed to Dirty Rob for a long time. If I'm correct, he has a call-in line, which I thought about adopting myself. But he had one dude call in, and he just made fun of this dude. This dude, it was fun. It was gold. If it's the same guy I'm thinking of. Matter of fact, I think he's up in the Detroit area, if I remember right. But Dirty Rob, it's the same guy I'm thinking of. I've been subscribed to him for a long time. He actually told me about hashtags years ago. So I hope it does, man. Thank you very much. If Music City guy doesn't join, he sent me an email. I got forward to you. It's some pretty good stuff. Alex, welcome, man. How's it going, Dan? I'm just not okay. It's the worst loss the Texans had. Snap, fumbled to end the game. I was telling the TV out. I didn't get a chance to watch the game. I bet on the first half of the game. I bet over, I believe the bet was over 24.5 for the first half. And a lot of people had over 51, which it didn't hit. I didn't have an opportunity. He says yelling, not telling. We gotcha. But I didn't see the play. All I know is that Houston was driving, because I took Houston once the line jumped to 3.5. It was one of my few bets I lost, and I had a great weekend betting wise. I went nuts betting wise, and Houston was one game I didn't hit on, but that's okay. Literally seconds before I joined the show, I chugged an energy drink, and I'm still going to drink coffee. I'm going to turn it around because there's a logo on this coffee cup that I am not going to share with you guys. Nothing bad. It's just, So I'm going to be super jacked up. I did a lot of betting and a lot of winning this weekend. This was a very, very good weekend. Not the amount that I won, but I've never made this many bets, and I've never won this much. It makes me believe that after this weekend, if I up the amount that I was betting, and I could have a weekend like I had last weekend, I would not have a 9-to-5 job. Because you know what? I can show you. I'm going to ask that you just take my word for it. But now here's the drill. In my bookie, you can only bet $25 per prop bet, which I cleaned up on. But the issue is that in order to circumvent that, you could just do 2. So I did bet. I did bet Derrick Henry over 100.5, which he didn't hit, but I did it twice. And so my bet Sunday, I made 14 bets, 14. And I lost one. I lost Houston Texans 3.5. So Alex, I get you. I'm mad because that was one of my few losses. The other one, Derrick Henry, which is twice, And then I lost twice on the Chiefs. I bet over 10 points for the first quarter, which it should have happened, but Chiefs decided that they did not want to score touchdowns in that game. And then I also bet 19 and a half, over 19 and a half points for the first half, and it was 19. Again, the Chiefs just don't like kicking field goals in that game. So, but I still went. Was that not? I thought I did better. It was 9-5. I thought I did better. Let me see here. Houston Texans. Derrick Henry. Okay, 4 or 5. Okay, yeah. Okay, 9-5. Wow, not as good as I thought. Now saying it out loud, I thought I did a lot better, but it's still not a bad thing. I did some in-game betting for the first time, and I cleaned up. Did Detroit when they were down by 10? I knew they would come back. I didn't know they'd win. And in Tennessee, when they were down big in the first half, I got them plus 16 and a half and then plus 12 and a half. I thought it was a push when the score was 41-28. When they got that extra touchdown late, that was a big collect for me. So yeah. And Jimmy, why didn't I do the same thing you did? Why didn't I parlay? I had the option to parlay, did not do it. I know you did. Great bet. Great job. James, yeah, okay. I didn't know he was a college student. I'm gonna double check because I think it's the same guy. I've been following him for years, but I have not joined the show in a while. But he actually has some decent stuff. But he goes on interesting rants. It's he also takes calls. If we're thinking about the same guy, he takes phone calls, which I've thought about doing time to time on my show, but I haven't got there yet. And I'll be real. I probably won't take phone calls. But I've toyed around with the idea a few times. I know how to get it set up. I just don't think I'll do it. Denver Gator, welcome, brother. Hopefully you were happy with the Chiefs-Broncos game, and you're also happy with the Florida game. By the way, there's no shame in losing to the Chiefs in Arrowhead by a few points. Not this Chiefs team. 30 years from now, we'll talk about this Chiefs team as being one of the greatest offenses of all time. So there's no shame. And there's a lot of good things about the Denver Broncos. I still think Fangio's on hot seat. A lot of people disagree. But I really think that Fangio is on hot seat and that what Denver's going to do is try to find a more offensive-minded coach. But Denver and Florida, both good games this weekend. You should be very happy. You can now, when you mix it, I did it. I guess I'm doing them both. I literally just chugged like half of it. Like I didn't realize the time. What I do is I wanted to be clean shaven for the show. I guess it doesn't really matter, but for some reason or another, I like being clean. So I shaved. I was shoving food in my mouth. If you see me burp, the reason why is that I'm literally like shoving food in my mouth before I do the show. And then I wash it down with an energy drink. Then I get my coffee. And now I'm super jacked up. That was a really great bet. I'm glad we won, man. I'm glad we won. I had such a good weekend betting. I didn't realize I was only 9-5. I was 9-3 going into the Chiefs game. When I lost those two bets for the Chiefs, they were small bets. I panicked. Well, I wouldn't say panic, but I thought the Bills would win big. They were actually an underdog. And then I liked the over for Baltimore Dallas, which a lot of people said under. I was like, no, Baltimore is going to score at least 30. The question is Dallas going to score 7 or are they going to score 21? I think they scored 17, but that was enough to push for the over because it was 44 and a half, 45. That was a low number. So I should have made both those bets and really cleaned up. I've already made a bet for this week. And I meant to do this, and I apologize. I ran out of time because the line's been fluctuating, and the line changed again. Okay. The line changed again. By the way, what I decided I'm going to do is Wednesday, we're just going to talk. We're just going to talk football. I was going to bring up the chart. Didn't have time. Doesn't matter. Then Friday, I'm going to break down every single game. But I'm going to share the bet that I already have placed because I do have action already placed for this weekend. I will admit it's kind of a homer pick. And I also got 3 other games I'm debating on. So Alex is, I didn't have a chance to watch this game, so I'm glad you're giving me details. I know they fumbled, but I did not know you were at the 2. Alex says we were at the Colts 2, 2nd and goal. Our center snapped the ball low. Watson. That's why I'm burping, by the way, is I chugged an energy drink after eating a lot of food. So I need to find a better way to do that before the show, so I'm not burping during the show. Our center snapped the ball low. Watson got one hand on it and fumbled, recovered by the Colts less than a minute, down by 6. Oh, wow. I had no idea that it happened just like that. I saw Watson with his the towel over his head. Let me try to console you. You have maybe the 2nd best quarterback in football and a ton of talent. And the best part is Watson's going to keep getting better and better and better. He'll learn from this. The rest of the AFC South should be very afraid because, Philip Rivers may retire after this year. He may play one more year, but, the quarterback situation's in flux. Tannehill he's okay as long as you got Derrick Henry there. Jacksonville is going to just blow up after this year, of course. But, I think going into 2021, the team that I really fear, keep in mind, it's going to be curious who they're going to get as their general manager and head coach. But, man, you're in great shape for the future, man. You're in great shape. That was another thing. Kiki Coty had a great game. Alex points out some good things came out of the game. Kiki Coty, I'm probably butchering that name, had the best game yet. Chad Henson had a great debut from the practice squad. Defense looked good. There's a lot of positives. There is a lot of positives. The offseason is going to be interesting because if I'm the Texans, I hire an offensive-minded coach, very similar to Bill O'Brien. I'm sorry. Hire an offensive-minded head coach, do everything I can to keep Romeo Crennel as defensive coordinator, but more than likely you're probably going to just change everything. But James talks about Stafford was just dialed in, 403-yard passing, 5 different wide receivers with receptions of 20-plus yards, 3 touchdowns, but the strip sack was unbelievable. You're right about the strip sack because I had 3 and I had 9.5, plus I had both bets with Hawkinson. I don't say this lightly, but he had some of those sidearm throws. He looked a lot like Mahomes. I've always been okay. Last year I went on the Luke G show, and Luke G told me that a lot of Lions media and a lot of Lions fans want to get rid of Stafford, and I was floored by it. Now, keep in mind, I watched Stafford when he was a freshman at Georgia. I watched that Georgia game as a true freshman for like 5 minutes. I said, that's first-round quarterback. I was just blown immediately. I knew that this guy was going to be a first-round pick. So I've always had kind of a – by the way, that Stafford, when he left Georgia, that team went 8-5. And he was the first pick in the draft. Geno Atkins played on that team. And next to Geno Atkins was Justin Houston. And that team went 8-5. I remember they lost the bowl game to UCF. And people were talking about Justin Houston because Justin Houston got shut out in that game. And then people were like, are you sure this guy? Because he had first-round talent. And Chiefs got him in the 3rd round. So, yeah. Jimmy, yes. By the way, this is what I want to hear, man. This is what I want to hear. I did pretty well this weekend, too. I'm officially prop. Yes! And this is what I want to hear. And I'm going to do my best because I got a game. I've already put action on, but the line dropped already. And I'll tell you that later on. But there is a game I want you to keep an eye on. Spoiler alert. It's a homer pick, but I really like the matchup. And there's several other games that I'm thinking about taking. And Friday we'll go over all this. And I'll see if I can find some good prop bets too. Music City Guy, weird game. What's up, Dan? Weird game Sunday. By the way, awesome email you sent me. I'm gonna forward that to James. I'll do it after the show. I didn't have a chance to do it, but it's really great. I wonder if there's different teams that you could do it for. But that was an awesome email. Thank you so much for sending that to me. It was great. Yeah, it was a weird game. Once Cleveland got up, I started betting on Tennessee, and I ended up collecting. So I ended up making money on the Titans. Derrick Henry didn't have a good game. It was like his first fumble and like 800 touches. I didn't even know that. I want to say this. And it's going to be kind of weird because off the top of my head, I forgot who they're playing next week. Okay. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. If I was you, I wouldn't worry about it. I'm not joking when I say this. I'm not being facetious. I wouldn't worry about it. That's a game that you almost want to have because Tennessee beats Cleveland. They could easily just get a little cocky towards the end of the season. This was actually, I hate to use this, a good loss. And if you don't believe me, look at the schedule for the next couple of weeks. It's pretty friendly. So. Jimmy says, looking NFC East is going to Giants or Washington, though. Yeah, you're right. And I'm going to say something that a month ago sounded nuts, but this could very easily happen. It's something I wanted to go into detail today with, but there's a chance both the Giants and the Washington, I almost said the Redskins, but the team from Washington both go to the playoffs. Both. Can you imagine a month ago that we're talking about two NFC East teams going to the playoffs? The Giants swept the Redskins, so they hold the tiebreaker. But both of these teams are in very important games this week. The Giants play Arizona. And that's actually for wild card positioning because if the Giants slip and go to 5-8, they're essentially out. But if you're 5-7 and then you go 6-7, you're in the playoff hunt. An 8-8 team it was funny. Last year you had to get to 10. This year there could be an 8-8 team that goes to the playoffs. Because right now you have Minnesota who's 6-6, you got Arizona who's 6-6, and then you got 4 5-7 teams. All those teams are competing for the 7th spot. Minnesota's 6-6. They're playing a 7-5 Tampa Bay team. Arizona and the Giants. Washington, I forgot. I think San Francisco's 4-6, 5-7, something like that. They're mathematically still alive. They're so banged up. I don't think it matters. But the NFC playoff picture is really, really interesting. It's a lot of fun, and we could have both the Giants and the Redskins both making the playoffs. The Redskins' schedule is after this Pittsburgh win is actually pretty simple. If they can go 4-0, which they can. The Giants lose one, the Redskins get in. The Giants, I mean, look, good defenses are tough. But anyway, I was going to go in detail with all of them. I'm just going to kind of focus on comments and see what you guys want to talk about. But I am going to go into detail every game. Next week, we'll talk about playoff positioning. By the way, Christmas is on a Friday. I'm not going to have a show Friday. Hopefully you guys knew that already, but usually a good bet over on Henry. Yeah, it usually is. He had a bad game. I want to see him get rested against Jacksonville this week, and then I might put action on him next week. But if he plays like that, Tennessee's in trouble. But again, this is a good loss. If you get swept by Jacksonville, then I'm worried. So Denver Gator, very hopeful against the game against the Chiefs. Florida and LSU this week. Coastal and the Cajuns won. Oh yeah, I put action on Coastal, not the money line. That's actually, I'm glad you brought that up because forgot his name, the BYU quarterback, and I was literally just thinking about him. Anyway, very impressed by this kid. Zach Wilson, is that it? Yeah, I think it's Zach Wilson. Okay. On my big board right now, and I haven't really started to break down the draft yet, but on my big board, I have I almost said Tannehill. I did that last week too. Why do I keep calling Trevor Lawrence Tannehill? I don't know. Okay. Trevor Lawrence is my number one player. Zach Wilson's now number 2. He's my number 2 player. And I think number 3 is Fields and number 4 is Lance. Looking at the draft right now, it looks like the Chargers have the 3 pick. The Bengals have the 4. That may be flip-flopped. No, that is flip-flopped because the Bengals have Chargers beat the Bengals. And then the number 5 pick belongs to Dallas, so I don't think is going to take a quarterback, but nobody knows what Dallas is going to do in the draft. I've been saying this for a long time. I think quarterbacks are going to go 1, 2, 3, and 4. I don't think so now, but the players that I got ranked on my big board as of today, I got 4 quarterbacks, 1, 2, 3, and 4. I didn't have that in my big board, but anyway, that's draft stuff. But yeah, Coastal, I was very impressed with the BYU quarterback. Coastal beat him up. And I don't know if you saw it or not. He actually threw a punch. He got away with it. He did it right in front of a ref. It'd be curious if Jacksonville likes him better or if they like Fields from Ohio State. A lot of it's going to depend on the combine. When I say it depends on the combine, it's how they interview, how they conduct themselves, how they're able to dissect defenses. But Wilson may matter of fact, nobody knows. Trevor Lawrence may not want to go to New York if he says, hey, look, and by the way, quarterbacks have done this in the past. Eli Manning, remember the Chargers drafted him. He said, no, I'm good. They get Phillip Rivers instead. He could do that. Zach Wilson, he may say, yeah, I want to be the first pick in the draft. I'll go to the Jets. Jacksonville gets Trevor Lawrence. A lot of crazy stuff. So, yeah, I went on a rant. Alex says, I'm sorry, music. If my Texans won, the Titans would be in first. You guys are tied with them now. And that division is also wow, I am sorry. I'm really behind on comments here. But that division is going to be very, very interesting. But I think both the Colts and the Titans are going to the playoffs. I was just thinking about this before I joined the show. As a Chiefs fan, I don't fear anybody in the AFC, but the one team that does scare me would be the Colts. And the reason why I say this is that last year, Justin Houston played lights out against Kansas City Chiefs. He was really mad and ended up being AFC Defensive Player of the Week. If he turns it up a notch, he's a world break or a wrecking crew. He's a wrecking ball. Him and Buckner could cause a lot of problems, and Phillip Rivers has always been very scary at Arrowhead. That would be the only team that scares me in the AFC. Every other team, no offense, Titans don't scare me. Pittsburgh does not scare me. I think the only team that really scares me in the AFC is the Colts, and that's only because I can see Justin Houston playing at an above and beyond level. Justin Houston, by the way, is one of my all-time favorite players. That's the last jersey I'm ever going to buy because I'm a snob with jerseys. I have to have the official NFL jerseys. I have the ones that cost I'm not doing that iron pit patch cheap. No, I got to do the real jersey. Justin Houston's the last one. It's cool, Alex. You guys will get them next time. Coatees for real. Really cool that the Titans and Texans. By the way, next year, oh God, those are going to be 2 really good games. So, read today, Blank is making a big push. Eric Bieniemy and Dorsey for Falcons. Wow, and that would be a great match. That would be a great match. Great fit for both. The only issue I would have with that is that I don't see them working with Matt Ryan. And that would be the only issue. And he'd have to hire a world-class defensive coordinator. But that would be a great fit. I think that those two together would be gold. I wanted to consider Greg Williams for DC to had 0 coverage debacle. I'm glad you brought that up because there was a guy on Instagram, and I forgot to unfollow this clown, who said the Jets that he did it on purpose so the Jets would be able to go 0-16 so they get Trevor Lawrence. And I'm going to tell you something right now. NFL teams do not tank on purpose, okay? I don't care what you say. There's not a college player out there that people are going to say, we're going to tank to get this guy. It doesn't exist. And I think going up into the draft, there'll be a lot of talk, Trevor Lawrence or Zach Wilson. And that Wilson kid, if you watch that game, he's very impressive. There's a lot of talk which one will go number 1. But NFL teams don't do that. It was a bad call, but Greg Williams has always done that. He will get another job, maybe not next year, but it wouldn't surprise me 2 years from now. He's a great coach. I say great, and I mean it. Yeah, he made a bad call, but Darren Bevel decided not to hand off to Marshawn Lynch in the Super Bowl and lost the Super Bowl. What's he doing? Oh, he's a head coach. So yeah, he'll get another chance. If the Texans hire a good GM and head coach, we have a great future. If not, which I ain't going to be surprised because McNair's not the smartest man. I hope not. I really hope not, Alex. And I have faith in you because there's a lot of talent on that team. You just made some bad front office decisions, which happens from time to time. But I think you'll get turned around. I think you'll get turned around. This is going to be a good story because I'll be honest. Of every team that's going to get a new head coach, I think the Texans spot is the most appealing because you got the superstar quarterback. You have a lot of defensive talent. The problem is you don't have draft picks, and that's a key. So it'll be interesting. Stafford had one of the best touchdowns of the year. Dude, that whole game was really good. It's weird because I live in Kansas City, so it's very rare that I get to see a Detroit game, but they had Detroit-Chicago on. And because I had action on the game, I was paying close attention. I'm watching Stafford, and I'm like, dude, he had several throws that reminded me of Mahomes. I mean, I don't get that. I don't get this Stafford hate, but yeah. All right, guys, I'm sorry. I'm gonna try to stop the rant so I can get to all the comments here because you guys have been great. Thank you so much. I'm watching on StreamYard. I'm not watching on YouTube, so I have no idea. I may have 4,000 thumbs down. I don't know. I have no clue. I always that's the first thing I do after I end the show is I look. So don't forget, give me a thumbs up, man. And a couple of you guys already said that you shared the show, and I really appreciate it because it's always a lot more fun when we get more people coming in from different teams. I want to hear different opinions. My future project is I am going to do like a 101, just a gambling tutorial video. I talk gambling a lot because I feel like I have to prove that I know my football, but this is not a gambling show. You do not have to be a gambler to join the show. You don't have to do it. I do it that way. I can prove my receipts, and I also love it. Like when Jimmy said he won some money this weekend off some of the picks that I made. That makes me feel great. When people tell me, "Hey Dan, I heard what you said. I bet on it. I made some money." Yes, I'd rather be here with you guys right now than go out on a date with a beautiful woman. Any day of the week, 10 out of 10 times. Girl calls me up the phone, hey, let's go out. I was like, no, I'm doing my show. I'm talking football. You got to wait till either after the show or tomorrow, more likely tomorrow. But yeah, man, I'm jacked up, man. Yeah, but the last side, yeah, he throws some picks, man. But you're set. The Lions are going to be a fun story as well, but if I'm the Lions, whoever takes over is the Lions, and I keep seeing Salah, and I'm going to talk about that too. I don't think Salah's a good fit, but I keep seeing it over and over and over again. So Stafford was a big thorn in the Gators side for years. Oh yeah, dude, that junior year. Did they? Okay, no. I'm not 100% sure, but it's AJ Green on that team. I think about this, okay? You got Justin Houston, Geno Atkins, Sam. I'm sorry, Sam. I got why I'm getting names on Matthew Stafford and AJ Green, and you're 8-5. I think AJ Green was on that team. He may have been the year before. I'm not 100% sure, but that Georgia team was loaded and didn't even finish the year ranked. Jets, they're going to win a game. They're going to win a game, so be careful. Also, the Steelers finally fall to a team with no name. All hail go to the dead name. Ballots between them and the Giants for supremacy in the division, and that's going to be a great race. Great race. Isaac, welcome, brother, man. Does anything need to be said about Anthony Lynn, or is the point across that he needs to be gone? Yeah. Kind of a bad situation, but I've seen coaches fired, and I'm not dogging the Chargers, but the Chargers franchise has never been stable. They've never made great decisions. So it's really sad because the AFC West, people dog on Al Davis, but the NFL is not the NFL without Al Davis. And some of the things that he did are large innovations for the NFL for years to come. The NFL had a list that was like top 100 influencers of the NFL. Al Davis, I think, was number 2. And a lot of people thought he should have been number 1. So, I think it's Sam Bolin. I can't remember. I know it's Bolin. I don't remember the first name. The Broncos owner, who should have been in the Hall of Fame years and years and years before. And then, of course, Lamar Hunt. The AFC trophy is named the Lamar Hunt Trophy. But it's funny because which name doesn't belong, and it's the Chargers owner who's always been a little crazy. But Anthony Lynn will be gone. But the thing is, though, with the Chargers is that's kind of appealing. You have a young quarterback who looks really good. I can't remember the guy's name, Phillips, that the hybrid safety linebacker player who's really, really good. You got Bosa. I mean, there's so many good things I like about the Chargers. They do need a few players. But they have a real solid foundation. So I think you get the right coach in there, and you really could be a playoff team as soon as next year. Yeah, you get the Jaguars this week. Don't lose this game. Excuse me. Nice, Jimmy. Great to hear being up for the season. Yeah, really, really great. It's my favorite thing. How about them Chargers second shutout game this season? Yeah. Oh God, I'm sorry, man. I'm really behind on comments, but yeah. Yeah, it's just a matter of time, man, unfortunately. I'm going to do a Black Monday show. I'm going to have a special Black Monday live stream, which I'll remind you guys about. And we'll talk a lot about the coaching hires and firings, plus all the wild card games. So Jets fans haven't lived till they've been through an 0-16 season. You know what, man? The 2012 season was the worst season as a Chiefs fan ever, because I remember me and my dad, we were at that the third preseason game, which is the tune up for the regular season. And okay, I'm gonna stop. But I've not been through a winless season. So I know you want to see it. I would love to see Alex. Oh, I would too. I loved Alex Smith here in Kansas City. I'm really pulling for him. Big game this week in Arizona against San Francisco. So I think 6-10 NFC team could go. 7-9 Seahawks did it not too long ago. Yeah, as a matter of fact, the 7-9 Seahawks beat the Saints, who won the Super Bowl the year before. So a team with the losing record is very dangerous in the playoffs. An 8-8 Chargers team beat the Colts, who won the Super Bowl the year before. What year was that? I'm drawing a blank on the year. And then even more recent, an 8-8 Chargers team with an 8-8 Broncos team with Tim Tebow also beat the Steelers in the playoffs too. So it's happened. Both the Jets and the Redskins are very dangerous because the defenses are really, really good. Great Christmas is ruined. Zach Wilson, the BYU quarterback. That was the name I was forgetting. Have you heard of the Central Texas kid that tackled? Yes. He's facing charges. I believe the ref has multiple concussions. The schools. If you haven't seen it, it was all over social media. What happened is a player. I thought the kid. At first time I saw it, he looked like he was in street clothes, but he was wearing pads. He was ejected from the game. And what happened is the guy came from the sidelines, blindsided the ref. And he's because he's over 18, he's facing criminal charges. If he was under 18, it's a different story. If you haven't seen it yet, go ahead and check it out. I'd love to hear your opinion of it. I think the kid, because he is over 18, he should have gone to jail. I think he was arrested, but he was allowed to go home. But there's going to be some issues. Coastal, the teal is real, but go Cajuns. That was a game I was tempted to put action on because both teams have pretty good defenses. I'm going to pass on that one. I do need to DVR this game. It's a Friday game, if I'm correct. That Coastal BYU game was a great game. Great game. Coastal's quarterback is amazing. True freshman, 20 touchdowns. Yes, he is. Very amazing. Enjoy Coastal, by the way, Mike. And by the way, Mike, thank you so much for turning me on to them, because when I watched them play against Kansas and I heard how they were recruiting, it was really confusing, because how you recruit in Texas and how you recruit in Florida is two separate and different beasts completely. And I kind of don't want to go into a rant, but how you recruit in the Southeast and how you recruit in Texas is different. And for you to get players from both Florida and Texas was really rare. And I was thinking to myself, when you turned me on to that game, remember that Kansas game that I warned you against, and I shouldn't have. I watched that game and I heard how they were recruiting, and that 5'9" center is awesome. I realized that this was a good team. This wasn't a fluke that they beat KU. This was just a really good team. And I remember thinking this team could be ranked. I had no idea they were going to be this good, though. That quarterback is amazing, by the way, and I'm pulling for him. Unfortunately, what's going to happen is the head coach or multiple assistants or everybody is probably going to take bigger and better jobs. But enjoy this while you can, which is going to be unfortunately at the end of the season. But it's really, really good. Great story. The kid was an all-state defensive player. Has had a lot. I didn't know that. Wow. I had no idea. I didn't know he was an all-state player. And you know what? He should. But the school, the coaches, and by the way, if you watch, there's like a couple guys following him. Why didn't somebody tackle this kid or get in the way or do something? But yeah, I didn't know that. Next year, when the Broncos beat the Chiefs, I'll buy you a nice number 3 jersey. Did you? I've said this a couple times, but just in case, I went to the same high school as Drew Lock, so I'm always going to have a soft spot for Drew Lock. A guy that I met that I worked with, he actually went to high school with Drew Lock, and he said he partied with him, just beer. This guy did more, but anyway, that's a different story for a different day. But he said he was a good guy. And I knew about Drew Lock since he was a junior in high school. So I'm always going to pull for Drew Lock. But and you got some good pieces. You have some good pieces in play. But if Fangio's your coach in 2021, Chiefs will sweep the Broncos again. Do you think Stafford's Do you think Stafford's play style was somehow restricted by Patricia? Put up those numbers without a star receiver. Yes, I do. Because when Patricia came in, he wanted to have a running offense. He wanted to have an old school offense. They wanted to play old school football, which is not entirely a bad thing. I kind of supported it, but ultimately, yeah, he restricted Stafford. He wanted Stafford to play to his strengths, play. He wanted Stafford to be more like Ryan Tannehill. So the answer is yes, I do. And I didn't think it was necessarily a bad thing either. But in order to play an old school style like they were wanting to do, first thing you need to do is have a good defense, which he was never really able to accomplish. It was a good, not great defense, and you need the defense to be a lot better. And he was never able to do that. And I think he was kind of inflexible, should have played a lot more zone. Also think there's a big disconnect. I think Isaiah Simmons would have flourished in Detroit. He's now starting to look good in Arizona, starting to. But I think he would have flourished. Or Okuda is a guy who really doesn't fit in that defense at all. So anyway, I got her. But to answer your question, Jimmy, absolutely, 100%. That was the difference because when Caldwell got the job in Detroit, he said that he was going to fix Stafford, and Stafford's completion percentage shot way up. And he actually didn't do a bad job compared to Patricia. He did a great job, but he wasn't able to get over the hump. But yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. Pete, what's up, brother? What's popping? Dan, what's up, Mike? Everybody, good luck on their bets this weekend. Hey, I haven't revealed it. I've already placed action for this weekend, but the game dropped, and I'll tell you the bet, and I'll tell you what to look for. There is a chance that I am going to put action on Thursday Night Football. It was 6. It dropped down to 5. Right now, I'm looking at my bookie. It's at 5.5. I really wanted 6.5 for the game. The good play would be the under, but it's 44.5. So that's a small number. If it jumps up a couple points, there's action. I might put action on the Patriots and the under. I might just leave it alone. Brokeback Mountain Stafford showed up very. That's brilliant, man. That's brilliant. What's up with DeAndre Swift? Feel sorry for him. Heard he's dealing with bad issues after concussion. Yeah, I heard it was a discipline reason. Detroit, my Detroit people, what's going on? Is it a concussion or was it discipline? Let me know. Tighten up. Tennessee's Titan logic. Yes. Hey, listen, I already said this. I'm going to try to keep my rants to a minimum, but this was not a bad loss. Your schedule's pretty good the next couple of weeks. You're going to be in good shape. I think you're still making the playoffs. So this was a good loss. Plus, you won me some money because you came back and covered several in-game bets. So that was really good. I credit Baker for his career game against Tennessee when the Titans defense was unbelievably bad. Yeah. Hey, look, I mean, when people say, like a lot of people are saying, well, you know, Steelers played a bunch of losing teams. Well, you play who you play. You know, you got to show up. This was a combination of the Browns getting the Titans in the right spot. But if these two teams play in the playoffs, let's say Tennessee wins the division and they're the 4 seed. All right, and they're the 4 seed. That means the first playoff game would be against the Browns. Who really thinks the Browns are going to do this again? So, Mike giving Pete a shout out. By the way, you guys are great. Thank you so much for joining the show. And Mike, I special thanks for turning me on to Coastal Carolina. I took that bet against BYU and I collected. I didn't take the money line. It's 12.5. I'm surprised more people didn't do it. The Cowboys defense is a statistical oddity. No way they should be as bad as they are. I tried telling people when you switched from a Tampa 2 to a 3-4, it's polar opposites. It would not surprise me at all if Mike Nolan gets fired on Black Monday. It wouldn't surprise me at all. And then the Dallas Cowboys, they currently have the 5th pick in the draft. It'll be very interesting to see what they do. I could see them trading down or using that pick and telling a team that needs a quarterback like the Chicago Bears, hey, you know, what about Khalil Mack or I'm drawing a blank, the safety, or I mean, multiple players or picks. Chicago's shown that they're willing to trade, and I think that after this season, they're going to draft a quarterback. Matt Nagy and Doug Peterson may both be gone too. That's another story. Is maybe Chicago just wants to rebuild completely. New GM, new head coach, which is kind of hard to. Didn't they start off the season 5-1? I love this, Alex. I just love this. The worst team in Texas. Oh God, this is so gold. Alex Smith doing his best YouTube impression study. If you don't know what he's talking about, Alex Smith got stepped on and was spurting blood on the opposite leg. And God, I love Alex Smith. Titans logic, Tennessee Titans logic, tighten up. By the way, guys, thank you so much. I love the fact I got some Titans fans. As an old school football fan, I love Derrick Henry, and I love the way the Titans are playing. By the way, also another thing is that's when I found Music City, guys, during the AFC Championship game. Lots of class. Titans fans are really, really cool here in Kansas City. So if my Chiefs somehow get eliminated from playoff competition, which I don't see happening, I'm not trying to be a jerk here. Just they're the best team in football. I would definitely be pulling for Tennessee as far as the AFC teams. I would love to see Tennessee win a Super Bowl. That would be awesome. And Derrick Henry is a stud. So yeah. And by the way, you Titans fans as a whole, it's just been a real treat. So yeah, I'm glad you guys are here. Alex says, even though the Texans have been mostly mediocre 30 years to carb, Cowboys. I love this, Alex, man. This is great. But Pete pulls in, emotions are deep in sports, especially football. The kid doesn't deserve no prison time. He should be. I think he should have been charged, maybe arrested, spend the night in holding cell. Prison, no. But things have to happen. I mean, the referee, I didn't know it was multiple concussions, but it's kind of, I didn't know he was an all-state player. If you're an all-state Texas defensive tackle, you have multiple scholarship offers. And, maybe I mean, for those of you who watch Last Chance U, that's the whole point of Last Chance U is junior college football. You make a mistake. There are several guys Last Chance U that made mistakes and then ended up, getting things right and then going to the NFL. And there's lots of superstars in the NFL that played junior college football, specifically Aaron Rodgers. He went to junior college football, then went to Cal and should have been the first pick in the draft. So. What end the rant there? Cowboys overhyped. I love the Cowboys hate, man. Cowboys will never go anywhere if Jerry Jones stays as prominent. This is awesome, man. This is really awesome. Pete chimes in. I love Drew Lock throwing on the runs. Been his issue. Seems like he's never throws a good spiral on the run. I don't know about that. But yeah, I'm always going to have a soft spot for Drew Lock. I actually thought the Raiders were going to pick him because Gruden coached him on the Senior Bowl, and Gruden loved the kid, but he decided he wanted to stick with Carr. They drafted Klein Farrell, who's been a colossal bust. And I actually thought that with the fourth pick, he was going to surprise everybody and take Drew Lock, but instead Denver got him, and Denver got a really good quarterback. Young kid. So, I mean, there's lots of room to improve. So, Funk, wish I was in here earlier. Bevel has had control of the offense since he got here. Last year, Stafford pushed the ball down the field. This year, an ultimatum comes out and they ran on first down. I didn't know that, and I always question on when head coaches say who's calling plays, who's not, how much control does the head coach have, offensive coordinator has. But it was just a great game. And and by the way, the huge underdogs this week at home against the Packers. I'm very, very excited to watch this game. Unfortunately, it's a noon game, so I'll be watching Kansas City, Miami. But I'll watch the NFL Red Zone, and I'll keep tabs of how they're doing. This is going to be a very interesting game to bet on. So, but yeah. And last year they ran on first down religiously. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. So, man, I'm sorry. I'm being. I got the. I'm sorry. I got the comments because I've been ranting too much here. Per Adrian Peterson, Swift was slow. Okay. Per Adrian Peterson, it wasn't a discipline issue; it was a concussion issue. And if he comes back and plays against Green Bay, that's a good thing. I love Swift, and I'm also a huge Adrian Peterson fan. So Detroit has some good pieces in play. It's just a tough situation that they're in because they have a lame duck. I mean, he's not. Darrell Bevel's not going to be the head coach in 2021. Let's just say that. But he can increase his opportunity to be the offensive coordinator there. He could increase his chance to be an offensive coordinator somewhere else if he does a really good job. So, I mean, there's some interesting things in play. I didn't know about this. I honestly thought Swift, it was a discipline issue. I didn't know it was a concussion issue. Also, I haven't had a chance to look. I don't think he's playing Sunday, but you guys tell me. I did not hear anything about discipline issues. Swift did get sick following. Okay, I didn't know that. I thought for some reason it was a discipline issue. So it's an error on my part. 9 out of 10. Hey man, thank you for giving me the update. And by the way, yeah, give me the thumbs up. I earned it. I deserve it. Actually, you guys deserve it, but I'm going to get the thumbs up. But you guys are what makes the show great. I just can literally just talk football. I could literally just talk football by myself, but I get an opportunity to do this. So, I mean, but you guys are what makes the show great, not me. Official Swift story is a non-COVID related illness, looking like he'll be playing again. Okay, he is going to play against the Packers. But Galladay is out. One Pride40, welcome, brother. A prediction for Lions GM and head coach. I'm going to stick with it. No. GM, I'm not sure about. But when the legislature, I believe that's it, asked management to hire Robert Saleh, who's a Michigan native. I think because it's the daughter of Martha Ford, isn't it, who's taken over. Anyway, she's new. I think that they'll go with Saleh and then try to bring in a general manager, which I don't recommend. Normally, you want to hire a general manager, then bring in, have that general manager bring in a coach. I think what they're going to do is just the opposite. They're going to bring Saleh, and then they're going to try to bring a GM to help with Saleh. And I've heard some names, but Ron Wolf Jr. is a name. Him and Saleh, I don't see working together well at all. I don't see it working together well at all. I'm going to stop the rant right there, but I still think that the best fit would be Bieniemy and Dorsey. If that works in Atlanta or in Houston, that's dangerous. That's very dangerous. I'm gonna tell you this right now, though. I think Saleh is going to be the coach, and I don't think it's going to work for Detroit. Unfortunately, I'm just going to say it right now. I think Saleh is a bad fit for the Detroit organization, but I do think it's going to happen. And hopefully, they're smart enough to realize, hey, let's keep Bevel as offensive coordinator, but they're going to have to give him an increase in pay. So it's possible they're bringing him back slowly. He will not bring. Yeah, I expect Peterson to get the full load. I didn't know it was a concussion issue. Keep in mind, Swift is a guy that they are going to focus on in 2021. I think he has all the potential to be a superstar in this league. So Pete says DeAndre Swift will be a star with Stafford. Lions better keep Stafford and still draft or pick up a new QB, but Stafford still has it. I think so too, and it'll be very interesting to see what the Lions do in the draft. Of course, it's going to depend, because if they do draft Saleh, they're going to need defensive linemen with that pick, or defensive front seven, and I'll have to get into a lot more detail when the draft comes closer. So. Jimmy, the Lions just had their best offensive performance of the year this year. Galladay and Swift both MIA. They Funk. There's no debating that. And you know what? They did it against a good defense, the Bears, which has a legitimately good defense, which is really awesome. There's so many good things with Detroit. That's why I would prefer an experienced coach come in. And then you're going to say, Dan, Bieniemy's not experienced. I get that. Bieniemy's a lot more experienced than Saleh. So, Lions are being courteous and letting the Bears get ahead in the draft. Is Detroit the only NFC team represented in this group? Man, you know what? I didn't think about it, but it might be. Here's the drill. I went on Luke G Field Review Show twice, so I got lots of love from Detroit, but I didn't think about it. But yeah, it might be true. We might need to get some. I'd love to branch out. I'd love to branch out and get more people from more teams, because I want to get more inside information. Because thanks to you guys, I learned things. I had no idea about Swift. I thought it was a discipline issue. But Swift coming back is going to affect things, because I know the line's been creeping towards Detroit, but opened at 8. So. Denver Broncos beat my Dolphins. Pete, I forgot that you're a Dolphins fan. You're not in good shape this week, man. Kansas City is. I'll talk about it more Friday, but I'm just going to warn you. There's a lot of things I like about the Miami Dolphins. They are not ready for the Kansas City Chiefs, though. NA Chicago has been destroying themselves for years. Mac and Mitch hurt, letting Vic leave hurt so bad. Yeah, Fangio. Now here's the deal: Fangio had to leave. He had to get an opportunity to be a head coach, but Matt Nagy, who year one won Coach of the Year, did a fantastic job. Now may get fired. Ryan Pace, the GM, may also get fired. And then the Bears, you got to think about what are they going to do? Well, I think with the Bears, it's obvious. You get rid of Foles, you get rid of Trubisky, draft the quarterback, and in order to do that, you got to trade up. Now, they could just say, well, you know what? The Chargers and the Bengals are not going to take quarterbacks. Dallas Cowboys are not going to take a quarterback. I don't think you do that. I think that you get the guy that you want and you make either the Bengals or the Chargers a deal. And you go ahead and you get your quarterback because that defense is world class. The defense is so good, even without Fangio. The only team I dislike similar to the Cowboys are the Colts. The Cowboys will always be the most disliked team in the NFL as long as they stay in Texas and have that fan base. Alex, I love the hate, man. I love the hate. Oh, I love the hate, man. I will always have a negative spot against Colts. I was born in Baltimore. I used to go to Baltimore Colts games as a kid, showing my age. I lived in the city of Baltimore when the Colts snuck out in Mayflower trucks in the middle of the night. It was weird. I was 9 years old. I turned on TV and realized the Colts were gone. And it was weird. It was like surreal. About 3 weeks later, we're in Kansas City, and my dad told me, I just found out a few years ago, one of the reasons he wanted to move to Kansas City, we had our options, was that Kansas City had an NFL team. So we moved to Kansas City. Didn't know that till a few years ago. But yeah. But I'll always have a anger towards the Indianapolis Colts, and also really dislike John Elway too, because if you don't know your history, Elway was drafted by the Colts, and a lot of people in Baltimore felt that if John Elway would have played for the Colts, that they wouldn't have moved. If you see the 30-30 special, Elway to Marino, you realize that Elway did the right thing and everything, but still. Elway will build a line for Drew, in my opinion. Well, Bowles, the left tackle who they drafted a couple of years ago, who I thought was a bust, who they should have just walked away from, is playing some really damn good football. They give him a big contract. He's got to pan out for that contract work. They give him too much money, but if it works out. Cushenberry, he was the third-round pick out of LSU. PFF gave him like the worst grade out of centers, and this is the reason why PFF's a bad source. Don't judge PFF by anything. I can't tell you how much I hate PFF. Cushenberry's done a good job. Dalton Risner, the K-State left tackle, they put him to guard, second-round pick, really good player. They spent a lot of money on Juwan James. He sat out for COVID. If he comes back healthy, and that's the problem with Juwan James, really good player when he's healthy, injured a lot. Denver gave him a ton of money. I think it was a 4-year, $55 million deal, and I think he's played 3 games or something. And next year will be year 3. But yeah, Denver is putting a nice line together. They have nice skill position players. And this is why I think they're going to move on from Fangio, because you have so much invested in draft capital on that offense, and then you have an old school defensive-minded head coach. That's why I see them moving on. And I think they're going to do it this year. I don't care when anybody says Fangio's on hot seat. And then the reason why is you have so much invested in that offensive capital. You finally got your quarterback. You're going to have Sutton come back. You're going to have Juwan James come back. You have 2 good running backs. There's so much. Patrick came out of nowhere. He's a good player. Noah Fant, this is a guy who's got all the tools to be a superstar at tight end. And you have an old school defensive mind as head coach. So, Music City guy. I'm originally from Arkansas, and Cowboys fans. Oh, yes. Arkansas is almost all Dallas fans, which I always thought was weird. But yeah, same thing with Oklahoma. And it's awesome. We're back in. This is so awesome. Lions also successfully went from 4th down, converting twice. Yes. I like Darryl, but I would like it, and I think what will happen is Bevel will get an interview. He will not get the job, and I would love it if he stayed. I would love it if he stays. He will be needed Sunday. Dan, Lions versus Packers. I have as the highest scoring game in the week. Yes, and that's something. The over under. I got it up right now. Is it off? Okay. Oh, maybe I should take. Okay, the over under for my bookie is 55. I thought it was 56. I know it didn't drop. The line went from 8 to 7.5. I might take the Lions, but I really like the over under on this game. One of the prop bets that you can make is, and I might take Green Bay because I could see Green Bay putting up 40, unfortunately. But this is going to be you're 100% correct, Pete. This is going to be a high-scoring, fun game. I'm sorry. It's the late game. I thought it was the early game. Oh, good. I hope I can watch this one. Yeah, I 100% agree with you. Swift is going to be needed. He is going to be needed. I love this. This is so great. This is great. The fan base is insufferable. Had a great chance of watching a game with some Cowboys fans at a sports bar, and they wouldn't stop talking about their teams and how they would. Yeah, I know several Cowboys fans. It was really weird. Maybe you guys understand, or maybe you guys can vouch for me. It was funny. My last girlfriend was a Cowboys fan. Now, keep in mind, she was not a big football fan, and I had her convinced that cocaine was legal in Las Vegas for 4 months. So, not the brightest bulb in the bunch. Wasn't dating her for her brain. So, but anyway, she hated Jason Garrett. She called him the evil redhead. She hated him. She's like, as long as the redhead's gone. Every Cowboys fan hated Jason Garrett with a passion. How many Cowboys fans would want him back now? We were watching the Jets play the Giants. Oh, God. There is a nasty rumor Harbaugh is coming to coach. Okay. You know the rumor is going to come around because Harbaugh is been rumored to leave Michigan or to get fired. Is going to get fired. And he's been rumored to be fired from Michigan for the last 3-4 years because Michigan has not won a national championship yet. And Michigan has a great football tradition. They have great facilities. They have an alumnus. They are able to recruit with anybody in the country. For them not to beat Ohio State, was it 4 or 5 straight years? It's been a long time. It's really not acceptable. I get it. So, yeah, I get why he would be fired. And Jim Harbaugh was a good NFL coach. He rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. It makes sense for the rumor. I don't see it logically. So don't worry, James. I'm pretty sure it's not going to happen. But if I hear more about it, I'll let you know. Please let me know. It doesn't surprise me that you're going to hear a rumor. I don't think it's going to happen. On the GM, I'm starting like Elliott Wolf in Detroit for GM. Yes, and I think it would be a great fit. I don't like that fit in Saleh. And the reason why is that he's been in New England for a long time, okay? But he came, Ron Wolf, by the way, Ron Wolf is the guy who trained John Dorsey, and John Dorsey does a lot of things like Ron Wolf. So Elliott Wolf is Ron Wolf's son. He's been with the Patriots organization for the last several years. So he coached. Ron Wolf's a Hall of Fame general manager. He's with Green Bay. He will be an excellent GM. And I think he would be excellent in Detroit. Him and Saleh, I don't see working well together. And the reason why is that Saleh only runs that wide 9 cover 3 type defense, which reminds me a lot of the Tampa 2. It's a system defense. All right. Anything that you learn about New England learns that some teams you may line 7 in the box. Other teams, you may put 2 defensive linemen, 1 linebacker. Matter of fact, how the Giants, which Bill Belichick was the defensive coordinator, how the Giants beat the Bills in Super Bowl 25 is they came up with a new defense, just 2 linemen. That's how you beat the Bills' hurry-up offense. And that's how you are in New England, is that you change. That's why I don't think him and Saleh would work together, because Saleh wants to run that wide 9 defense, which is like a cover 3 Tampa 2. So you have a system versus a guy who week to week changes his defense. That's how it is. Elliott Wolf in Detroit, great fit, home run. Salah in Detroit, I don't like at all. But you put them both together, I don't think it works because you have two completely different. I don't see the connection. So, but yeah, Elliott Wolf would be a great fit in Detroit. No lie there. I was gone. Give me the thoughts on how bad the Chargers look. I didn't watch the game, but that was my number one bet, and I made that bet right away when the Chargers was a 1-point dog. If you tuned in the last Wednesday's show, I knew that the Patriots were going to win. I would just wish I would have put more money down. Special teams errors. From what I was told, the game was actually, I didn't watch, but the game wasn't that close. But Bill Belichick against a rookie quarterback. That's like gold. I wish I would have put more money down on the game. Hey, look, you have a coach who's going to be fired. You have a lot of talent on the defensive side of the ball, but now you have a young superstar quarterback. 2021 is bright, my friend. 2021 is very bright. What happened to the Seahawks? How did they lose to Colt McCoy? This is just simple. Seattle just overlooking things and the Giants playing some really damn good football. Seattle's not looked good. Would they start 5-0, 6-0, and now they're 8-4? The way the division breakdown works is that the Rams would win the division. The Seattle Seahawks need to get over 9.5 wins and to win the division for me to look really, really good for my weekly bets. The Saints over 10.5 looks like a lock. And the Texans and the Patriots are going to need a ton for the help. But if Seattle doesn't get to win the division, then the end of the year is almost a push, which is really bad. Basically, they overlooked the opponent. They overlooked the opponent. They were 11-point favorites. Matter of fact, I think they're okay. I'm looking at it right now. They're a 13.5-point favorite against the Jets, and they better be careful. Better be careful. That's one. We'll talk more about it Friday, but I really like the Chiefs this week. Matter of fact, this is a bettable game. I find it so odd that Lions fans find Chiefs YouTubers. Okay, here's how it worked. When 2018 ended, they shut out Green Bay at Lambeau. They finished season 6-10, but they finished 2-2, including the shutout of Green Bay. I really thought that the Lions were a team on the rise, and I wanted to find some more information on them. So I found Luke G, and then we started talking. I'm like, why? I think the Lions might be a wild card team. And he said, yeah, and the NFC North plays AFC West. How about you come on my show? You can talk about Chiefs' point of view, and I'll be the Lions. It'll be Lions versus Chiefs for the Week 4 matchup. And I said it'd be great, and ended up being a really good show. And he also let me come on the show and bring a bunch of people. So yeah, I saw it out, Lions fans, because I had a lot of faith that the Lions are going to be a really good team last year, and they went 3-12-1. So I was completely wrong about that. Yes, it is odd, but it's great because Lions fans are fantastic. I've always had a soft spot for Detroit. So I know Lions fans don't want to hear it, but Denver media is pushing hard for Stafford. Would love. Wow, I did not know that at all. Denver Gator, and it would be good, but I think at this point in time, you just let Locke play. Let Locke play. And Pete wants to argue Miami winning. Okay. Doing good against the Bengals, who are beat up, and doing good against a healthy Kansas City Chiefs team is not even close to the same thing. The Bengals are so beat up right now on their offense. The Chiefs' offense is getting healthy, including Watkins being healthy. Carlos Edwards-Helaire did not even play last week. He had an illness, but he was suited up. Mitchell Schwartz, the right tackle, who's been playing at an all-pro level throughout his career here in Kansas City. missed some time with injuries. He's starting to come back. Sammy Watkins is also starting to come back. So you're going to face a fully functioning, healthy Chiefs offense, which the Chiefs haven't been for the last couple of weeks. So good luck. And your offensive line's banged up against two really good defensive linemen that have been ridiculed in Kansas City media. So we'll talk about more Friday, but not only do I think the Chiefs are going to win, the line was at 7.5 at 7. If it drops to 6.5, I may put action on it. I actually also like the over on that game. I think it's going to be a higher scoring game than people think. And when I say higher scoring game, I think the Chiefs are going to score 40. I think Chiefs are really going to run up the score. I think you'll be surprised at how good the Kansas City Chiefs offense is against a very, very good Dolphins team. I think you'll be surprised. I'm going to tell you this right now. I not only think the Chiefs are going to win, I think the Chiefs are going to win big. I think it could be something like 44 to 21. I really think it's going to be a big. I think the Chiefs are going to put up over 40. I trade Stafford. Yes, I know you would. It'll be very interesting to see what Denver does in the draft. But I think that what you're going to do is if you trade Stafford, I think that the value would be a 3rd round pick, and it's only because he's 30. It'll be 31 or 32. A lot of injuries, a lot of miles. Also a big contract. It's not as easy of a trade, but yeah, hell yeah, you should. And then you would parlay those picks and get yourself a quarterback. So yeah. Alex says, personally, I think the best move for Detroit is to move on from Stafford. He's a great QB, but I think they need to rebuild parts of that offense in large swath. I agree with you on the defense, but if I'm Detroit, I keep the offense intact. And then if you have Salah, that front seven doesn't even work in Salah style of defense. That's why I don't like it. But whoever comes in is probably going to atom bomb that defense. And I think it's too much to just redo both. Now, if you are going to redo both, you have to have a coach who's going to be there for several years. Okay. You got to have a good enough coach and a patient enough fan base to say, hey, you know what? We're going to suck year 1. Year 2 is probably going to be bad, but year 3, and that's rare because most teams want to be. Matter of fact, the blueprint would be, look at Miami. They were a team that stuck around 500, couldn't get over it. They said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to bring in a coach. We're going to atom bomb the roster. We're going to suck. And then year 2, we're going to be pretty good. And that's what they did. And that would be the blueprint of the Lions, is that they atom bomb the roster and then be good year 2. And that's if you want to follow what the Miami Dolphins did. What I would do is I would keep the offense intact, atom bomb the defense, and then try to be good year 2. I wouldn't try to atom bomb the whole team. Now, keep in mind what the Dolphins did. People were like, tank for Tua. You remember all that stuff. Now, keep in mind, they got 3 number 1s. They did a lot in free agency. To be able to say that what happened in Miami can Detroit do the same thing? It's possible. I don't think it's likely. That's why I would atom bomb the defense, keep the offense intact, which is really good. But that's what I would do. Detroit's going to be a very interesting story in 2021. Broncos play Chiefs twice a year, went hard against the Chiefs. Hate to say it, Miami will be made an example. Yeah, they will. You have to understand something about the Miami Dolphins is that the teams that have had success against Kansas City, the Raiders and the Chargers and the Broncos, they've seen it. If you haven't seen the Chiefs offense, it is totally bizarre. It is very, very weird. And it's very, very unusual. It is very, very unusual. It's very, very weird. It's like nothing else in the NFL. I expect the Chiefs to win big. I really do. I think Miami is really going to be surprised. I think the speed and the athleticism is something that, if you haven't seen it a lot, like Denver has and the Chargers have, you can't be prepared for it. You can't be prepared for it. There's just so many weapons. The Broncos need a legit right tackle. Rookies and Eisner will develop. Get James out down. I agree. James has been a colossal. That was a bad move by Elway. They gave him so much money. I think it was a 4-year, $54 million deal. I was doing my math wrong. It's what, 13.5 million a year. Am I doing my math right? Anyway, it was the largest contract to a right tackle. Couldn't stay healthy. If you are going to keep him, he has to stay healthy. It wouldn't surprise me if the first round pick is on a right tackle. And Bowles has to live up to that contract, because I thought they would move on from Bowles. They kept him around. He's played really good. He has to continue getting better. If Bowles slips and has a down year next year, that's a big mistake on the whole Broncos franchise. Because I disagreed. I thought you should have got rid of Bowles. They kept him, and he's played lights out this year. He has to continue playing lights out. Either James is going to be a starting right tackle, play lights out, or you got to get rid of him. Good call, though. Good call. Music City guy. I followed Dan after Week 10 game in 2019. I found him on the NFL page. Found why arguing with Chiefs fans that said we were lucky to win and it was our Super Bowl. Oh man, okay. Week 10. Week 10, if you're not familiar, was when Patrick Mahomes came back from the knee injury, and the Tennessee Titans played a great game. And I think I gave the Titans some credit, because if you watch my 2019 breakdown of the Titans, I predicted that Marcus Mariota could get benched for a more athletic and better fit than Tannehill. And I've always had a soft spot for the Titans. But yeah, I'm glad, man, Music City guy, I'm glad you followed me. And there was a lot of Chiefs. Look, I'm just going to tell you right now, there's a lot of really stupid Chiefs fans. And now that Mahomes is here, I've had people, more than any other fan base, people are coming to me and in the Kansas City area, more than any other city in North America, are fair weather fans like Kansas City. So I've had people just out tell me that they're Mahomes fans. They're not Chiefs fans. So if Mahomes became a Raider, they would become Raiders fans. People have told me, hey, I'm on the bandwagon. And it's like, get the fuck off. I'm sorry. I hate bandwagon fans, because I sat out there every single game in 2012 watching a 2-14 team. Matter of fact, I watched them play the Dolphins. It was a great game, 38-31, Dolphins won, in like 20-degree weather with 30-mile-an-hour winds. If you're not familiar with sitting in an outdoor stadium, wind kills you. You can dress. I've been in 0-degree weather. I'm good. That game was one of the top 5 worst games I've ever been to, because it had a wind. You can't do anything about wind. If it's below 20 and it's windy, you're screwed. You're going to be cold. And I sat out there for the whole game for a 2-win team till the final zeros. All right, my rant's done. All right, sorry. Amped up here. I still think Bears fan is worse than Cowboys fan. Oh, Funk Bear. Okay, I got to stop my rant. All right, but I got some old friends I used to run with. They're friends that you have to cut off, but they're Bears fans, and they suck. You're right. Bears fan does suck. Bears fan and Cowboys fan are both really, really. They're like, look. I remember the Bears beat Kansas City. I think it was 2014. Jamal Charles tore his ACL in the game, and everything just kind of went downhill. And they called and left a bunch of messages on my phone while I was at Arrowhead talking trash. And you can't get reception, at Arrowhead. So, I'll always kind of resent. That was the last time I heard from that dude. I don't hang out with him anymore. You have those friends in your 20s that when you get in your 30s, like they're still in their 20s, they're still party like they're in their 20s. And it's like, no, I got a job. I can't drink 15 beers. I have to go to work tomorrow. Anyway, okay, my rant's over. Sorry about that. Chicago fans are all insufferable, not just because of the Bears, because of the Cubs. Bear fans are just like Cub fans. This is awesome, man. Yeah, Cowboys fans sucks. Bears fans suck. Losing to Ohio State is one thing, but getting slapped by Michigan State is the reason to get pushed. Oh, yeah. I thought Michigan hiring Harbaugh was genius, and I think it's a great move. And they've been able to recruit. I mean, they not only have they been able to recruit, that they've been able to get NFL. I think Michigan had like 10 or 11 drafted players. It was one of the highest in all of college football, but they haven't been able to produce. They haven't been able to beat Ohio State, which is big. The fact that I can't vouch, but I think they purposefully didn't want to play Ohio State, try to screw Ohio State out of playing in the Big Ten championship. Sometime today, I saw that they can play in Big Ten championship. So, I mean, I'm not big on college football, but I think Ohio State has to be one of the 4 best teams. I think that they would be the 4th, maybe 3rd. I mean, let's be clear. I think Clemson and Alabama are 1 and 2. Everybody else is 3. So, yeah. Gary, man, welcome, brother. I'm sorry about my comments here. I'm going on rants and stuff, man. Glad you're here. Do you think Robert Saleh, defensive coordinator, 49ers, has a shot as the Jets, Lions, or Chargers coach, or to replace Patrick Graham as the defensive coordinator of Patrick Leeds? Okay, great question. Patrick Graham, I think, will get an NFL job. I think he's done a fantastic job. He will get an NFL coaching job. Robert Saleh will be an NFL head coach. And I think the Lions is not a good spot, but I would bet money that he's going. I'm sorry, I'm itching my nose. I promise I'm not doing blow. I think it's a great. All right, let me rephrase it. I think he's going to the Lions, and I think it would be a mistake. I think he would be better suited for the Chargers. I think the Chargers would be a perfect fit for him to be head coach. It would be a perfect fit because he that defense that he runs in San Francisco, he can run that same defense in LA. They pretty much run the same defense right now. It would be a perfect fit. If I'm Robert Saleh, I'm going to LA and I'm like, dude, I bring in my defensive scheme perfectly. I hire a former head coach to be offensive coordinator because that's what you do. And that's exactly what I want to say Tom Brady, but I know it's his name. Joe Brady did as the Giants. You bring in Jason Garrett as the offensive coordinator. This is what you do. You bring in a former head coach, somebody with head coaching experience, and that's what you would do. You could bring in somebody like, I know you don't want to hear this, Alex. You bring in somebody like Bill O'Brien to be offensive coordinator. I don't think Bill O'Brien would accept it, but you bring in somebody big to coach the offense. And the best part is you bring the offensive coordinator in to LA. You say, hey, look, I got superstar quarterback. Keenan Allen's one of the best receivers in football. I got a Pro Bowl caliber tight end. Let's win a lot of games in this very challenging AFC West. And then you can be a head coach in a year or two. If I'm Robert Saleh, I 100% want the Chargers job, and I don't want the Lions because he brings that system into the Chargers. That's a great defense immediately. He doesn't change anything. They pretty much run that same defense, and it's also a defense that's been effective in containing Patrick Mahomes. But I keep seeing him going to the Lions. As far as him going to the Jets, that would be very interesting. I don't see him going to the Jets, and the only reason why is I think that what you're going to see is that when they go ahead and get rid of the head coach, they may or may not get rid of the GM. They probably should. I think that they're going to go after a big name, and yes, Saleh's a big name right now, but I think they want to go after somebody even bigger. I think they're going to try to either lure Saban, maybe Dabo Swinney. I wouldn't be surprised if they bring in a new GM, Bill O'Brien. Maybe I don't know. I don't see it. But Robert Saleh going to the Chargers is brilliant. I didn't even think about it, but it's brilliant, and it should happen. And here's the thing. Normally what you do is when you hire an offensive-minded coach like Anthony Lynn, you flip-flop and go with a defensive-minded guy. The only thing is, though, Anthony Lynn and Robert Saleh are both players coaches, quote-unquote players-type coaches. you may not. You may want to go in a different type of personality, but Robert Saleh, I think, would be a perfect fit for the Chargers. I don't know why I didn't think of it sooner. I'm kind of mad that you stole my thunder because I wish I would have thought of that. Perfect fit for the Chargers, but I'm almost convinced he's going to get that Lions job, and I think it'll be. I don't think it'll work. I actually think Anthony Lynn will be Bill Belichick. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, William Blackwell, man, welcome, brother. I don't recognize the name, so I'm glad you joined the show. Thanks, man. What's up, man? Do you think the Vikings will make the playoffs? Great question. I meant to do a list. I didn't have enough time. If they beat Tampa Bay this week, which is a huge game, if they beat Tampa Bay this week, then yes. If they lose to Tampa Bay, then the NFC becomes very creative because right now they have the 7th spot. Okay. They have the 7th spot. Last game of the season, they have to travel to Detroit. Also a good, fun game. But here's the thing. They have to beat Tampa Bay. If they beat Tampa Bay, yes. If they don't beat Tampa Bay and the Giants beat the Cardinals, it gets a little interesting because both those teams will be 6 and 7. And then you also have to wonder if the Redskins win against the 49ers, then the 49ers, that will drop out. 49ers are mathematically alive still. But then you have the problem with the Redskins, who will also be 6 and 7. And then you also have the Giants. And now if they lose, then the Cardinals will be got my numbers mixed up. If the Cardinals win and knocks the Giants pretty much at 5 and 8, you're almost out of playoff contention, but they do hold the tiebreaker of sweeping the Redskins. So it'll be very interesting. I was going to do a chart and break down Tampa Bay, Minnesota, Arizona, the Giants, and the Redskins. I don't think the Bears. I don't think the 49ers. I don't think the Lions have a legitimate chance for the playoffs. The Vikings are also the team that's, I think, the scariest. I think the Vikings and the Cardinals are the scariest wild card teams. And the reason why I think the Cardinals are scary is that you get Kyler Murray, who just says, screw it, I'm going to run the ball 25 times in a playoff game. It's my first playoff game. I'm just going to run 25 times, make things happen. And he could. Are they good enough to just play nuts football and win 3 straight playoff games? Absolutely not. The Vikings, on the other hand, are the most dangerous team in the NFC because that defense keeps getting better and better, and they're young, and they keep getting better and better. And then you got Justin Jefferson, who looks like he's going to be a superstar. Adam Thielen, he's a legitimate number 1 tight end. Dalvin Cook, a legitimate MVP caliber back. And Cousins, when he gets hot, he can throw the ball. He can throw the ball when he gets hot. And that defense, the Vikings are very scary. And here's the thing, as the 7th seed, they would play the number 2 seed. The number 2 seed could be Green Bay. How much? I'm assuming you're a Vikings fan, but let me ask you something. I'm assuming, and I might be wrong. How much fun would it be the first round of the playoffs, the Vikings go to Lambeau Field? How much fun would that be? Remember, they beat the Saints in New Orleans last year. Saints were 13-3. Can they go up to Green Bay and win in the playoffs? Absolutely. Absolutely. Then that could be a lot of fun. The question is, they have to beat Tampa Bay. If they don't beat Tampa Bay, it makes the playoff picture. So the playoffs in the NFC really revolve around who wins between Tampa Bay and Minnesota. Because if Minnesota wins, Tampa Bay, they're in danger of not making the playoffs. Where a couple of weeks ago, they have an opportunity. People are talking about them being a Super Bowl team. Now they may not make the playoffs if they don't win. Arizona, they were talking about as a dark horse wildcard team. All of a sudden, they lose several straight games. They have to beat the Giants, who have a chance to win the NFC East. How much fun will that be? After this week, we'll have a better idea. But if they beat Tampa Bay, then yes. If they beat Tampa Bay, then yes. If not, it'll be very interesting. But if I'm in the team in the NFC, I do not want to play Minnesota. I forgot about this, and excuse me, I forgot about this. So I would have bet more money. But yeah, Belichick just destroys rookie quarterbacks. I would bet more, but I knew right away. I knew right away. I haven't even revealed to you the bet I made. And I already put action now. Hey, James, if the Lions got Denver's first, could you name your player in position in the draft outside 2? Are you talking second round? So, Alex, he's heading off. Alex, have a great night. I'm sorry I got so behind in the comments. As always, you've had gold content, so I thank you very much. We are Texans. I really hope if you're still listening, I hope to see you Friday. Friday, I'm going to break down every single game. It's going to be great. Denver Gator said he found the show because I'm always looking for good betting info. Got hooked from the very first show. Respect people with solid content. Man, thank you, Denver Gator, man. I really appreciate it. And I will always talk about gambling, but it's not a gambling show. I just want to talk football. That's all I want to do. But I feel like I have to prove my knowledge by betting and winning. And I've been able to do that. So, man, but your content's been gold. I love your stuff. And man, and like I said, I also like our Twitter communication. It's also been a big treat. And if you've been paying attention, I've been killing the over-under girl on NFL action. She needs to come on this show, get her NFL stuff. So, do I think the Giants have a shot going 9-7 and upsetting the Seahawks in the first round? Do you know where the game would be played? Okay. Yes, and the game would be played in New York. Okay. Now, what Gary is assuming is that if they play in the first round, the Seahawks would be a wild card team. I still think the Seahawks are going to win the NFC West. I think the way it's going to work is I think the Saints will get the bye and they'll be the 1 seed. I think Green Bay will take the 2 seed. I think Seattle will take the 3 seed, and then the Giants will have the 4 seed. And that's going to be really exciting because the Giants will have the 4 seed. It will be a home game if they win the division. And if they win the division, they'll be the 4 seed, and they'll play the 5th seed, which looks like it would be the Rams. Now, if it's flip-flopped and the Rams win the division and they play Seattle, it will be in New York. And then I actually like Seattle in that game. I like Seattle in that game. And the reason why is that playoff football is usually a little different. And I'm going to trust a team that's a little more veteran that's been there before. But yeah, that's great question. And if the Rams win the division and Seattle's the wild card team, they would travel to New York. And do they have a shot? Absolutely, because they beat them in Seattle. So, of course, they can beat them at home. But I'm warning you, I would pick Seattle in that game, and I would actually bet on it, too. I'll put my money where my mouth is. I'll take Seattle. But, yeah. Oh, man, I am sorry, man. I got so many comments here. Music City guy, you got to love the Broncos gave you. Oh, man, James, yes. Yeah, I do too, man. We haven't even talked about it. Yes, Philly fans suck. Bears fan, Philly fan, Cowboys fan, they all suck. No question. No question. Go green. He's not talking Green Bay. He's talking Michigan State. Michigan State. So Steelers, Bears, Cowboys, Raiders, and Eagles fans are the worst. I mean, come on, they threw snowballs at Santa. There was this really weird girl. She's like a grandmother who wore jean shorts to the Chiefs Raiders game the last 2 years, and it was like 20 degrees. And she changed. It was just weird. But I'll be honest, man. Raiders fans have been really cool at Arrowhead. Really cool. Raiders fans have been really cool. Broncos fans have been cool. Last Broncos game, there's a couple guys from Denver, and they said, "Hey, we came to Arrowhead. We wanted to kick it off our bucket list." They were so cool. Denver's. It's actually funny. Broncos fans, really cool. Raiders fans, really cool. Chargers fans were douchebags. And I could never figure it out. It's like, how are you a hardcore Chargers fan? You don't even know what city you're in. It was really weird. But no, yeah. And Eagles fans, yes, they do throw snowballs at Santa. Hey, Funk, I heard rumors on extension for – oh, I did not hear this. Denver Gator, really appreciate the Dolphins blowing their team up. We have ended up stuck after Mariota flop. Yeah, I had a buddy of mine who swore he was going to be the next Aaron Rodgers, and I'm like, no. No, and Denver Gator backs us up. No, he won't. No, he'll be a head coach. I think he's going to Detroit, but all right, it's either my neighbors or somebody just knocked at my door. I'm going to ignore both for right now, but Denver Gator, all those fan bases came to Nashville, and I totally agree they are the worst. Patriots. Oh, we forgot about Pat's fan. Oh, God. It was funny. On Twitter, a Patriots fan was trashing the Chiefs fans. And I'm like, dude, no. No Patriots fan has the right to call any other fan base a douchebag. So, yeah. Yeah, I forgot about Pat's fan. Denver, not sure yet, but I heard there's a chance they keep Jim there. I don't want him in Detroit. Plus, he's a do-it-my-way type of guy in the city. Teams get offended by those type of coaches. You're talking about Salah, Funk. I'm sorry, man, and I should have got are Salah or Harbaugh. And I'm sorry, man, I should have got. I'm been behind. So, who's a candidate for the Giants defensive coordinator job if Graham leaves? It could be a variety of different things. And keep in mind, Joe Brady came from the Patriots. And one thing that Brian Flores did is he brought a bunch of Patriots coaches and brought them from New England. There's a chance he may do the same thing. He may promote somebody from within. There's a lot of different names. I don't know off the top of my head, but I think Patrick Graham is going to be gone. I've heard great things about him. And this has been a rumor for like several weeks, and the Giants keep getting better and better and better. So I really like this a lot. Patrick Graham getting another job. As far as who would be the Giants defensive coordinator, I don't know at this point. I really don't. But it's a great question, man. I apologize. I do my best that if you have a question, I have an answer. I don't have an answer, man. I don't have an answer. But one thing I will say, I don't think he brings somebody who's experienced. I think he does the same thing because Patrick Graham was a guy people really didn't know about. I think he'll either promote somebody from within the Giants organization or get a position coach who's a relatively young, unknown guy, and he'll do the process over again like he did with Patrick Graham because you already have an experienced coordinator with Jason Garrett. All right, so you already got one experienced coordinator. Have an inexperienced coordinator, somebody you can grow. And that's the direction. Young, inexperienced, probably a name that neither one of us know. I'll take Salah. Yeah. Gary has a great point. I didn't even put the two together, but that would be a great fit. Salah would be a great fit for LA. Yeah. Man, appreciate Williams, first time I've seen him on here, so that's awesome, man. Wouldn't Joe Judge be the youngest head coach to make the playoffs this year ever? Not ever. I want to believe. I want to believe not ever. I believe Tomlin would be younger, and I don't know if there's a coach even younger. I believe the youngest would actually be Madden, who I think made the playoffs at 30. I believe Joe Judge is 34, 32, something like that. Not ever, but yeah, one of the youngest. And I called him Joe Brady. I mess up on names a lot, Gary, and I apologize, but you're right. Would be one of the youngest, not the youngest ever. The Vikings actually got the corner. I wanted the Lions to use the Slay pick on. Would have been poetic. Replace Slay with the kid from the same school with the pick you got for him. You're not talking about the kid from TCU, who I love, by the way. You're talking about the other guy. Oh, God, you're talking about the kid from Mississippi State. I'm drawing a blank on his name. And I love that kid, too. I thought it was a great pick. And that's the thing that scares me about the Vikings. They got some young corners that I think are going to be stars in the future. No, wait a minute. No. No, okay, you're right. I got the name too. In my mock draft, I kept on having Noah Igobongu. I can't pronounce his name. The guy who went to Miami. I kept having him going to Minnesota. And Dantzler, Carmen Dantzler. Yeah, I like Dantzler a lot. Man, William, I'm glad you're here, man. As a Vikings fan, it would be awesome to go to Green Bay in the first round of playoffs, beat them on the road. Yeah. And you know what? The Vikings are a scary team. I forgot the guy's name, but Dantzler is a guy I love. I kept on mocking him actually to go into the second round to Buffalo. I kept on thinking he would go to Buffalo in round 2, and the fact that he dropped all the way to round 3, and I'm drawing a blank from the kid's name out of TCU, and I thought that was a great pick, the kid from TCU. Then get the guy in the 3rd round, Danzler, who I think just both those corners are going to be really good. Both those corners are really good players, and I think they're going to get better and better and better. So. Yeah, Dan. Right now, today, yes, and problem is Okuda. It was put in a kind of a bad situation, but I do think that it'll be very interesting to see what you do later on. So yeah, hate to brag like this, but I've been smoking the over under girl in college football. But I put a lot of action, but I study. Hey, no. By the way, the over under girl on Twitter is just freaking fantastic. But she does everything, and me and her had a back and forth a while back. But she kind of explained how she does her business. She's a kind of a marketing. She's called over under girl, does sports betting, but it's more of a marketing thing for her. I'm not insulting her, but I've been killing her on NFL action. But she does everything. I mean, literally everything. So, but I didn't know you were smoking her in college football. But I've actually taken her advice on college football a little bit. I might. It's doubtful, but I might take her advice on college basketball this year. Isaac chimes in, hey, whoa, you Chiefs fans are my favorite over Broncos. Hey, that's good to hear, man. That's good to hear. I'll be honest, there's a lot of crappy Chiefs fans. There's a lot of crappy Chiefs fans. I've had season tickets since 1989. And we were there in the 80s before Marty, where they had just a garbage team. We sat through some really bad years after Marty. The Dick Vermeil era was not as much fun as Marty Ball. I loved Marty Ball. Marty Ball was like a dream come true in the 90s. It just... And then right now we're at the golden age because Andy Reid's building an offense here in Kansas City, which is going to go down as one of the greatest offenses in history. Keep in mind, Travis Kelce's playing at a level almost no tight ends played at. Tyreek Hill's doing amazing things. And then we have guys that are probably going to leave the Chiefs organization. DeMarcus Robinson, he signed a cheap 1-year deal so he could stay in Kansas City, probably due to COVID, because he was really valued by a lot of teams, and he hasn't played great in Kansas City, but he could be a solid number 2 for a lot of teams. And then you got Sammy Watkins, who, when he's healthy, is a legitimate number 1. And then you also got Miracle Hardman, who went to the Pro Bowl last year as a kick and punt returner. Very exciting player, but really kind of under-delivered this year, but still an exciting player. And then you get Le'Veon Bell, and you also get Carlos Edwards-Helaire. So, I mean, this is an offense that's going to go down as one of the greatest offenses in the history of football. There's a lot of douchebag Chiefs fans. I'm glad that we've been cool to you guys. I'm not, and you, hey, Isaac, I don't know you. Maybe you sat behind me at Arrowhead as a Chargers fan, but as a general rule of thumb, Chargers fans coming to Arrowhead have been the douchiest. I'm sorry, out of the AFC West, but you've been great so far. I love the fact that I got Chargers fans here and I got Broncos fans here. It would love to have a Raiders fan, but I'd love to have 32 different fans from 32 different fan bases. But yeah. It's awesome, and I'm glad that Chiefs fans are your favorite. I hope to still be one of your favorites, but be warned, there's a lot of douchebag bandwagon Chiefs fans. So, Harbaugh on the comment to Harbaugh to Denver. Wow. I'm stunned. You know what? You know what? They have a connection. Elway and Harbaugh actually do have a connection that makes a lot of sense, but I don't know how Elway and Harbaugh would get along. I don't know, man. I don't know. That's a good one, though. That's a real good one. For youngest coach, I'm not sure Gruden and McVay hold as judge. I believe the youngest coach, and without using Google, would be John Madden. I think he took over at like 30 or 31. Um, I believe he would be the youngest to win a playoff game. Really, 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 really young. Um, so that if you had to ask me who's youngest coach to win a playoff game, I would probably tell you John Madden. I could be wrong. I think Judge, if I remember, I think Judge is 34, and I didn't look that up. I mean, we can all use Google here, but if somebody wants to look it up, that'd be great. But I believe the answer would be John Madden. Yeah, I didn't realize that it was all AFC fans. I didn't realize that. So man, it's awesome to get some NFC love in here. It was up to me. I'd get 32 different fan bases, can come in. I wouldn't mind even other Chiefs fans, but I'm often surprised at how much I got to disagree with Chiefs fans, because Chiefs fans week to week will be all over the place. The only steady is that is about Mahomes, and there's actually some Chiefs fans that believe Mahomes has never made an incompletion. So I'm going to stop. But yeah, there's some douchey bandwagon Chiefs fans, man. So yeah, isn't that awesome? It's awesome. We're all in the North too. It's the three of us Lions guys, the one Vikings guy. The two fan bases are cordial, dude. That's one thing I really like. Last year, both Green Bay and Minnesota came to Arrowhead. We went to Detroit. But Vikings and Packers fans are awesome. There was a girl 2 seats in front of us who was awful. She turned around because the Vikings fans were yelling "skull" the whole time, and she turned around and told them to shut the F up. And they were super cool about it. And so finally I was like, oh, what's that skull thing? They explained it to me. It was super awesome. I didn't know about it. I'm not going to go in detail, but it's really cool. Packers fans are also cool to talk with. The thing about Packers fans is that I remember in the 90s when Favre came to Arrowhead, we won that game. It was actually 96, the year that Packers won the Super Bowl. We beat them at Arrowhead, and their linebacker came out, and it was a grandmother. She was wearing cheesehead, and she knew who the backup linebacker was. And you don't expect somebody who's got grandkids, but that's the thing about Packers fans. They know their football, which is amazing. And Lions fans, I can't really say too much about them. Coming to Arrowhead. They didn't come to Arrowhead last year. I can't sit here and say, but just on this show, and I had a buddy of mine who was also from the Michigan area, even though he was a big Lions fan, he was more of a Michigan Wolverines fan. I cannot emphasize this enough. USED used to be the biggest Penn State fan. But ever since the scandal, I can't cheer for Penn State. And that actually, I might make a video one day. It's like how the former Penn State fan deals, 10, 20 years later or whatever. I can't cheer for Penn State again. I mean, I was 4 years old watching Penn State play. I loved Penn State. I had, like, to this day, I haven't thrown it away, but I have like 7 Penn State hats, jackets, jerseys. I have a throw rug. My buddy Tim, who hasn't joined today, but I think he got that for me. Man, I had so much Penn State gear. I love the colors. The whiteout game is still one of the coolest things in the world. But instead of being excited for it, it's like, oh, it's whiteout. And, can't be a Penn State fan again. Loved Penn State. Can't do it. A lot of D-bag Broncos fans to be included. Yeah, I mean, there's bad in all on all fan bases, but Broncos fans at Arrowhead the last several years have been really, really cool. No, not Harbaugh to Denver. He asked me who I was talking about, and I was in the comment I made to Denver. He has asked me about the situation. Now, I'm sorry, Funk. I got so far behind, and I'm jacked up. I'm going to wrap this up here. We're going to go ahead and end it here. Listen, Friday, I'm going to break down every single NFL game. Oh, God, I forgot to mention this. Okay, here's the drill. I put action down yesterday on the Washington Redskins over the San Francisco 49ers. The Washington Redskins were a 3.5-point underdog. It was really important to get that extra half point. Right now it's 3. And it's dropping. I like the Washington Redskins to win the game outright. San Francisco does not have a home field advantage. They're playing in Arizona. They are banged up. Washington's playing some really good football. I don't think that there'll be a drop off because they're in a playoff hunt, or San Francisco knows that they're just kind of waiting for next year. I love that game. I put my money where my mouth is. So I took action on Washington 3.5. Washington football. Did I say Redskins? Damn. Okay. The Washington team. So yes. Okay, I think this is right. We're starting to get bandwagon fans. I think that there's bandwagon Derrick Henry fans. And dude, Derrick Henry's a lot of fun. I mean, I love Derrick Henry. Funk, thank you so much, brother. You know you're welcome here anytime, man. Your stuff's been awesome. I love back and forth. I love the comment you made during the draft time, is that it's awesome that two grown men can talk sports and not one call the other one names. You will never get name calling. You can call me names. I'm not going to call you names ever. Funk, I'm a diehard Gators fan. Went to the game where Michigan beat us. Oh, God, I remember that. Yes. Oh, I got to forget that. That's pretty cool. It's a Clemson fan? I had no idea. Wow. Because a timeout. Oh, God. Oh, jeez. The Fab Five, God. Okay, I'm going to end it. I'm going to end it on the Fab Five because that could go in another rant. Hey, listen, Friday I'm going to break down every single game, but I already put action on Washington plus 3.5. Right now it's 3. It's probably going to drop. So if you do want to take action, take advantage of it. Take 3 because it's probably going to drop. Like I said, I got 3.5, and that's going to be my bet. But I'll have some more action Friday. I'll break down every single NFL game Friday. I hope all of you can join. Have a great day. Have a great night. Thursday, Friday. I hope to see everybody back. So, man, hey, have a great night.